Perfect. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me. This is Danny from California and our weekly session about real estate investing, where I usually do the talking and you usually do the listening, but that's not the purpose. You are most welcome to join by participating on the live, participating on the recording, asking questions, suggesting topics, and so on. So I can tell you that, for example, 2 weeks ago, a week or two ago, one of the participants requested that we talk about a type of mortgages for non-US based real estate investors, which I have done a series of 3 podcasts on the matter, and it's on our podcast channel, the Hebrew one. We have 2 of them, one in English, one in Hebrew. So if you want, I put a link for both of them, and you can join, participate, and listen. Obviously, there are more topics on all of them, but I just did this week. I think the last podcast is going up today, if it didn't already. And it's a short series of about 15 minutes-ish, each episode on the challenges non-US based investors, foreigners for that matter, are facing when want to buy in the US with using a mortgage, not cash, mortgage. Okay, so just want to mention that. We do this session on a weekly basis on Friday in order to engage, to communicate, to meet with you guys. So it's always a pleasure. So by all means, feel free to ask questions regarding real estate investing that are directly related to the topic or indirectly, related to the topic, but related to real estate investing. So let's keep it in the real estate investing world. If this is something related to other topics, I may just have to excuse myself, as I don't think I would have the expertise. So thank you again for joining. I really appreciate it. I put some links for our website, for our podcast, for different things, so you can know you can have more information available. We put out a lot of content for you to benefit. So with that said, I think I'm done with the promotional part of it. Let's dive into today's topic, where we're going to talk about condos, or at least I want you to be aware what are the concerns or the cons of investing in condos. Okay, condos, for those of you who are not sure, are a type of a living unit, which is not a single family home, usually in a community, where unlike apartment buildings, typically a condo, each unit is owned by an owner, or same owner owns maybe multiple units, but it's individually titled. So that's what usually referred to as condos. Now, when it comes to condos, there's few things I want you to understand as what I call the disadvantages. Okay, I'm not saying no, I just want you to be aware of the disadvantages, because I've been through that and I've seen the dark side of the condo, right? Okay, number one, I think many of you are aware of that, is the homeowner association fee. Homeowner association fee in condo tends to be high because it reflects, it collects or need to collect funds for maintenance, preventive maintenance, repairs, insurance, some overhead, etc. So it tends to be high, which means that when you buy a condo, your HOA or the HOA can easily eat a large chunk of the cash flow, okay, or the proceeds. So the first thing a lot of people are aware is condos do tend to carry or generate or have it building a high HOA. So make sure you know that and you understand that aspect. And that's what a lot of people know. And for that reason, a lot of people don't really like condos, or a lot of investors, but that's not the only thing. Let's talk about the secondary thing, which is called financing. Okay, so financing on a condo could be more challenging. Why? Because many times the bank wants to qualify the condominium community, especially want to make sure the books are done correctly, okay? And there's enough reserves, and so on and so forth. So getting an approval on the financing can be a challenge, also because the bank many times wants to see the lender that there are at least 50% or more homeowners living in the condominium, and 50% or less that are rentals. So if you are in a community where there's like 60 or 70% renters and 30% homeowners, you may encounter financing challenges. Now, you may say to yourself, I don't really care, I'm buying it for cash, right? So who cares about financing? Well, you should, because if you are an owner who bought it for cash and then you want to sell it in a few years to someone in the open market, and most likely this buyer would be a homeowner or a condo owner, they will want to buy it with a financing, with a mortgage, right? Guess what? If they're in that position of buying it with a mortgage from you, they may encounter a problem with the mortgage and financing as well. So here we go, and we may meet this challenge or obstacle of financing both when we purchase and or when we sell. So keep that in mind. That could be challenging when it comes to the selling that. Not, you know, so that's the first thing you need to understand, or that's another thing you need to understand about the financing aspect. And lenders do look into the condominium and all those details, because lenders are always doing a risk analysis or underwriting the risk when they're underwriting the mortgage on a condo. So be aware of that. Next thing I want to say is this. HOA need to maintain a certain budget, which is allocated to preventive and maintenance and repairs and insurance and so on. Many HOAs are not many, but you know, it's not rare that the books are not being properly properly handled or properly done. So that means there's going to be some discrepancies. There are going to be some problems. This problem is going to be, could hurt you, because all of a sudden there is a you know, like a call for additional funds, or it's underfunded, or there is a mess with the books. That can happen and can reflect you, the owner. So that's something you need to understand, that it's very important to make sure who's ever doing the books for the condominium association is doing it properly, and there should be some supervision from a board on that matter, right? A board usually in a condominium complex usually means some of the owners or representative of the owners. Hopefully you have that. So it's got to be a proper audit and supervision on the whoever manages the association. Most times it's done by professional companies, but still those things can happen. Now, my apologies, I have a cold. Next thing, condos, rules and regulation can be really nice when they're on our side, and super annoying when they're on not on our side. So that means in situation when there's a condo association and all of a sudden they have some rules and they're bugging us with letters, and you know, tell the tenant or the owner not to put the dry clothes from the pool on the balcony and stuff like that. You know, on one end, they're right, we want it to look nice. On the other end, it's really annoying, right? And those rules and regulations many times can interfere, depending how strict the association is and how strict the people are, with the lifestyle, but also with the tenants who live in our condo. So that can be something that it creates another noise or more annoying altogether when it comes to that aspect of it. Some associations, and this is something should be you know, looked into before buying, may have restrictions on renting. So you gotta make sure that doesn't, you know, reflect, because it will be, you know, you want to know in advance before buying if there are any restrictions. Just because a certain unit is a rental doesn't mean it can stay as a rental. So you got to look into that before buying. Last thing I want to say that I have seen myself, one of the things, you know, with the economy hit, you know, the slow economic period hits, one of the first places that will suffer is going to be the payment of the association fee. And even if they have power to do things, it's still going to be one of those places that are going to be first, not paid. So that means I have seen a condominium where during the 2008 recession, people stopped paying the association fee, and all of a sudden, or very quickly, the association was under budget. Now, here's the thing. Let's say 70% of the owners of the condominium are paying on time, and 30% are not because they got into some financial challenge. You, as one of the good people who pays, still going to suffer because of 30%, because very quickly, the association budget will be under budget and funds will be missed. And all of a sudden, there's no money for insurance, there's no money for repairs, and maybe no money for maintenance and landscaping, and that will affect the community and it will decline. Okay, so even if you are a good person, pays on time, it will still may suffer, or your unit may suffer because other people are not paying. And obviously you cannot, it will be hard to carry even for 80% that are paying. It will be hard to carry the 20% that are not paying over time. There are laws and things that can be done in a situation like this, but it may still affect you because it also varies from one state to another. The laws are. So be aware of that as well. You will be, as an owner of a condominium, will suffer or will be affected by other owners and their behavior. So be aware of that. It's very important to keep that in mind. So with all those things said, the HOA fee, the financing challenge, the HOA being under budget, the rules and restrictions and annoyance that can create in our life, the possible of not being able to rent, plus a situation where multiple or a large group of owners is not paying the dues, can affect you and your unit and the value of that unit. Think about your unit being affected, the value of it or the stability of it, because the community doesn't look well, because it's under budget, right? So those are the challenges that I am seeing with buying condos, right? And honestly, personally, I'm not a big fan, as you can probably tell, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't consider it. For example, I have someone that I know who heard me speak about condos, and he couldn't pass on a great opportunity during the recession to buy multiple condos, multiple units, because they were so dirt cheap at the time, and he's very happy with it. So obviously there's an opportunity there, or there was an opportunity there, and he grabbed it, and that made perfect sense. So keeping everything that I said in mind, if it's a good opportunity, a really good opportunity comes along, by all means, go ahead and do that. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, but wait, even in a single family home community, there is an HOA, and that can, some of the things can be reflected there as well. You're absolutely right. The only or the main difference or differences are usually in the HOA community, the fees are very minimal, $15, $20, $30 a month. So it's not that heavy. A community that has more like $75 or $100 a month in a fee usually means there's quite a few amenities, like a pool or more than one pool, and playground on tennis courts. So that means there's a trade-off, and it's still not that bad. And in those type of communities, typically, even if nobody pays, right? Let's say the entire community is not paying the association, most likely there's not going to be a huge effect on the community. Maybe the landscaping will suffer from it, right? So this is not, a major catastrophe, and your house or most of the houses in the community will not be affected as much if a majority or a large portion of the neighbors do not pay the association. It can still carry itself quite well. So there's a big difference here between those two categories. I don't, I'll tell you, when it comes to HOAs, my experience is, on one hand, that I don't really like HOAs. They're very annoying to deal with, and and just create a lot of noise. But when you have a friendly HOA, company, they will actually, the one thing I like about this in a single family home community is that it's another eye or another supervision on my property. So that means they walk the neighborhood once every 1 or 2 months, and if they see some problems with with my house, they will point it out. And for me, it's another layer of protection, so to speak, on my property, as long as it's not horrific HOA, kind of regulations and expensive and annoying, right? So when we have to deal with them, I hate it. When I don't have to deal with them and they're not difficult and they're just watching over, my house just as a regular course of business, I actually like that quite a lot. They would catch some stuff that the property manager wouldn't see, because the property managers do not go to our houses on a weekly or monthly basis. They only go there when scheduled or when needed, upon a specific situation. So that's everything I wanted to say about condos and the associations and what you need to know about it beyond the fee. If you have any questions regarding the topic, please put them in the comments right now. If you have any questions not related to the topic, you are most welcome to put them as well. And I'm going to use this opportunity to place some additional links related to our services, related to our website, related to meeting with us, just so you can benefit, or if you want to take another step in this direction of investing with us. I am done with the topic. I'm going to wait for few good seconds. I will say that I've put some links to podcast in Hebrew, podcast in English, websites, schedule a meeting with us. In the comments, you're most welcome to use them. And I'll wait a little bit longer. And if we have no questions coming in, then I'll wrap it up for today. Very good. With that said, since there are no questions coming in, I will say thank you very much for joining me in the live. Thank you very much for joining me in the recording. I hope to hear from you soon, maybe in a more intimate surrounding. Have a great rest of your day and have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.